Recording. Okay. Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying this weekend and thanks for joining us during your Sunday. This call is being recorded and will be shared on YouTube for further, follow-ups if needed, or for those who couldn't make it to attend this call. We've been doing this call almost since COVID 2020 to help people with, wisdom, um, insights about their career journey. Myself, Ahmed Zayed, I'm an IT professional and career coach. I've been working previously with Microsoft, Indeed, PwC, Cisco, and others. And I'm now doing my own business as career coach and consultant for my current, business called futurecareer.net. So I'll be happy to support you with your journey. This call is not for selling anything. We'll just, again, give you wisdom, give you insights about your questions, your challenges, and how best we can support you with your journey. So I'll hand it over to my colleague Samer. He's an HR professional. He'll give introduction about himself, and then we'll open up for you guys to ask questions and roll it up to share the wisdom. And again, if you are in a hiring manager or an HR or you have some wisdom you want to share, don't feel shy. This is the power of the community. This is how we really grow and collaborate and support each other in this difficult time. Samer, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. I am a human resources and training professional, graduated from UK with a master's degree in HR and training, and accumulated 18 years of experience in HR and recruitment. My focus in human resources is employment and recruitment. So my familiarity with the different ATS system, how resumes are sorted, interview techniques, how to apply for the jobs and stand out is here all for you. I'm happy to answer any of your questions so we can increase your visibility to the companies. I'm here also to explore with you challenges that faced by HR by receiving big number of application and how you can make your application stand out more among other applicants. Thank you.
Thank you, Samer. Okay, cool. So our topic today is mostly about networking and how to do more of networking either online or offline. So and I want to start this by asking our audience here today, how are you guys doing your networking and what is your biggest challenge doing networking today? If anyone wants to come off mute and be brave enough to share what they are doing and maybe discuss what are their challenges, and then we'll be happy to share some of the insights that you can do to leverage a better network and also maybe land your dream job as well. Anyone wants to participate? And again, this is safe space. Feel free to share again whatever you're comfortable sharing, and we'll be happy to support. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, walaikum assalam. Hey, Mir, how are you? Thank you.
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Jazakallahu khairan for doing this session for the community. I shared my LinkedIn profile, probably not going to talk much about it, but simply I'm an IT professional, been in the industry for about 24 years now and moved to government space. So I have two sort of questions or the thought process. One is for the federal government or state government jobs in the US, how we do the networking if this exists, number one. Number two is that I'm very attached to my community here in Irving, Texas, and sometimes I do like technical sessions with the community members whoever are interested come to the sessions. But lingering question is, doing this particular session or course, how do I get a job? How do I land a job? So I think this is probably the most interesting part for me in joining this session. Uh, how can we help the communities to land a job? So, going through the same training, what are the practices that you typically see in the community that you are serving, uh, so that we can take advantage of? Those are the two sort of like pointers that I wanted to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mir. And I'll ask you for the second question. I'll try to summarize the first question. You are asking about the state government networking in your local state. Is that what you're asking about first? Just to make sure.
Local, state, or local, like local to US, if you will, both like state and federal government jobs.
Okay, okay. So have you worked before in the government, or this is the first time that you wanna go there?
No, I actually I was lucky enough to get into federal space right now. I am in the federal space right now.
Okay.
But that said, it seems empty. Sometimes I feel like the folks that I know within my department. Other than that, I don't know anybody uh,
Oh,
like-minded in terms of technology professional, or in terms of the technology that I'm driving currently. So
okay.
just wanted to see how we do the networking, if there is a networking practice within our community for that matter.
Sure. And again, are you asking to network in order to maybe get a promotion, or what's your objective from networking? And again, just to make sure I answer you to the right question here.
Great question. And I really appreciate you asking this question. Sometimes it's about simply exchanging ideas. Uh, Being in the like transformational leadership kind of role, if I know that okay, someone else is also playing in the similar role, or having
Mhm.
serving the similar role, maybe I can exchange ideas, right?
Okay, got you, got you.
Maybe learn from their sort of like experiences, right? And that ultimately may help in the career, right? Not only just promotion, but at the same time, uh, expanding the knowledge, and then positioning me or others in this practice, for better like a sort of like position in the overall um,
Got you, got you.
contribution that we make. Yeah.
Got you, got you. But now it's clear. Okay. So again, just for everybody to follow along, Mir is asking about, how to collaborate for knowledge sharing within, again, government is lots of silos, lots of, different initiatives happening everywhere. And again, that's all the governments all over the world have the same problem, unfortunately. So it's tough to really get into a kind of a collaborative way. Maybe some of your colleagues in different department are doing the same thing that you're doing in this department, which again could lead to unfortunately repetitions or loss of or waste of some of the money. So I guess again I'll give you my what I did with Microsoft, and what I also did with one of my contracts with local government here in Canada. So it's all about the initiative. You like if you have a passion for something and you would like to start that initiative, and then start to promote that initiative so that others can come with you. Like again, this community was an initiative that I started long back in 2020 during COVID. I felt the need by the people who are in out of jobs. At that time, I was working for Microsoft, and this was not part of my duty at all. But I felt the need, and I made this with my heart. It took my time during the weekends and to prepare and also send the invites and follow along and all those stuff administrative is definitely taking from my daily week or family. But because I like it, I love to help people. I kept doing it, and I'm very happy that I've done this because every day, I'm blessed to see people who come and appreciate, that these calls have helped them land jobs. So, again, to answer your question, short enough, you can start an initiative, start with two, three people around you who feel like this is a great idea, start doing, small community, get them together, start to, share some wisdom, maybe share insights about what you guys are doing, and, advertise for it either through your smaller group, either WhatsApp or maybe LinkedIn or whatever. Again, depending on how confidential the information that you want to share, and then eventually it will take time to grow, and then it will pick up. Definitely it will be hard at the beginning. It's not going to be easy. I admit that. My first few calls were just maybe two, three people. I felt disappointed a little bit because I put a lot of effort to get people to attend, but then after some time it started to pick up. I became known. People come to me, and I've been happy to do this regularly. So it's all about, again, consistency. Maybe create a process, make it easy for you and for them to join. Understand that not everybody might align with you, but try to find common areas or intersections. Does this is this helpful enough, Mir, at this point?
Yeah, sounds fair. Thank you for sharing. Of course, we have, I guess my most networking is through the colleagues that I worked with in the past, but within the community, it's because we've been working together to put together some kind of like training sessions around the areas that I work. So that helped within the community itself. But
Yeah.
it's the federal space is new for me, so that's why I was asking this question. But thank you very much.
Yeah, no,
That's
no. Again,
helpful. Yeah.
this is very fair and very thankful for your, great heart. So again, like if federal space is new for you, you could put your wisdom. How did you get in, for example, and share that knowledge with the community, and tell them how to really crack into federal space, because again it's not easy. It takes some process. There's so many security clearance and gates and others that people need to go through. So again, this could be something that you could do. I've done workshops like this before to help people in Canada about how to land jobs in the federal government, and I'll maybe be doing this again soon. So I hope this was your first question. Can you restate your second question? Sorry, I lost track of what it was, and then maybe I'll ask my colleague Samer to also help here.
Yeah, sounds good. So in the context of that, it's a networking slash collaboration. Uh, when we start uh, working on a specific session on any technology area that we work with, the first question that I get asked all the time is, okay, so brother, this course I'm interested in taking it, will that will that help in the job? How can you help me with the job, right? And I'll take the course, but then how can you lead me to landing a job, for example, right? Though that these two, three types of questions are questions along this line of getting a job after this session or after the training is is everywhere. So
Okay,
what
got it.
can we do in that regard? How can we, I mean, I'm going to learn from your discussion, but how can we prep our community for this type of journey, right? So
Sounds good. Yeah, no, again, that's fair. And again, I think we're all overwhelmed today with the amount of knowledge, amount of trainings, amount of certifications that is, throwing to us in technology specifically. If you're in technology, and I see your profile that you're in technology, so definitely there is so many things to learn. Is this going to help you land a job? Not really. Again, unless you apply that learning and create some experience with that knowledge, then that's what employers need. Again, one when employers are looking for someone to hire, and again, I'll speak for a few seconds here, and then ask my colleague Samer to chime in. When employers are asking for or advertising for a role to be filled, they have a problem, and they wanna solve that problem through hiring. So they wanna bring up the best talent, the someone who's really aware about how to solve this problem, how to really make it easy for the department or the team or the customer to pass on those problems. And unless that person uses that training as an experience, and you put hands-on knowledge in order to develop that experience, unfortunately, the knowledge in itself is not enough. So again, I think that's what you can tell to those people. Getting the training is just the first step, and it's definitely useful, but to land the job you need to use what you learned in order to solve the problems by that employer. And I'll pause here. Samer, if you want to chime in and share your wisdom from an HR perspective, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Mir, you have actually touched a very important thing that leading us to the job. And your bigger question, how do I land a job? And land a job is then the answer for this is your question is similar to other questions from another 5,000 people applying for one job. Yeah, because all the 5,000 is asking themselves, how do I get this job? And today, the technology revolution is increasing the easiness of applications. Okay, so your question should be, how do I stand out among all this 5,000? Because how do I get a job? It's easy because the company is opening the vacancy and they are clearly saying to apply for the job, attach your resume. This is the certification. This is the job post. You apply. How to stand out is very important because 5,000 application is impossible for any HR person to look at all of them. Here where it comes to the steps of recruitment. The first step of the recruitment will come at the HR side by using ATS systems. And then ATS system will take this all big number of application of 5,000 and shorten them to 50 applications. So another question you have to ask yourself, how do I make sure that ATS system is going to shortlist me and put me part of the 50? Then those 50 is going to an HR person who will look at them one by one and score these resumes. Then the third question will come. How do I make HR to score my resume as one of the top 10 to call me for the interview? So your resume is not going to get you a job. Your resume is going to get you an interview. So writing the resume in the right way that is leading to interview is very, very essential. So you see now how many steps. There's no one magic recipe of one bill. I take it and get a job. But there's a lot of gaps, a lot of issues that we need to close them one by one until we reach to a formula that will lead us to an interview. Then the following steps is coming for your interview preparation, how to increase your opportunities. And here where it comes to referrals. And your question was, how do I get referrals for government jobs in USA? Okay, let's look at the pain points of the HR people. HR people are sitting there, they want to hire for one position. And their pain point is, how do I get the best candidate to apply for the job? They want you to apply. They don't want to headhunt you. The headhunting kind of is very minimized lately in the market because it's creating a lot of obligation on the organization. When I come to a person and tell him, I like you, leave your job, come work for me, I can't terminate them later. I gave myself a big legal commitment. What I am doing mostly, I wish them to apply for the job. Then I select them and put them into evaluation and probation period. Then I can say later, yeah, your promises is fulfilled or you don't meet, then I can dismiss. The application is important. Referral will give you a little bit of a push to move you from the big pool to the shorter pool. But again, your skill and experience should be the one who's going to stand you out. Is there more question I can explore with you, Mir? Did I answer few of your raised inquiries?
No, fantastic. Thank you so much for reflecting on these aspects. Yeah, so it almost seems like, feel free to chime in. It almost seems like, you know, one aspect of it is, okay, so you have a new technology, you need to get trained on it. Fine. You may have a background within the industry with a different technology, but it's a new technology. Fine, you get up to speed. But then everything else that you mentioned keeps into line, right? It's like, okay, so yeah, uh, understand from the human resource perspective what they're looking for. How then you prepare yourself for that role that you're trying to apply. What makes you stand out when you are applying with other applicants, right? Definitely, those are valuable tips that you just made. Yeah, so I understood. Thank you very much for reflecting on it. I think this I'll just keep it that for now. It's a great discussion. Of course,
You are
it's
welcome.
a long
Thank you very
discussion.
much, Mir. And Mr. Ahmed, at the beginning, he mentioned something. He said, don't feel shy of presenting yourself. So it's everybody's opportunity actually to use all the tools to stand out among others. I see people now sharing their LinkedIn profile. I would also encourage everybody to present themselves more. Open your camera, show yourself, stand out, speak up. Every person here is kind of a person who will know you more. And the more you know people, the more you can get even more endorsements on LinkedIn, more recommendation, more people that meet you and hear you. Every time you speak up is an opportunity for marketing. So yeah, thank you, Amir. Thank you, Rabih, for opening your camera. This is really increasing the interaction between us. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tamer. Thanks, Amir. And again, guys, this is call is for you, so feel free to, raise your hand or ask questions. I want to help as many people as we can through this 1 hour, and we can maybe stay longer. So Stephanie raised a question here, and again, I'm happy to help you with that question, Stephanie. So interviewing and networking, those are two big things, and again, definitely not the easiest part. Interviewing definitely is a tough one for people to prepare for, and it's a journey. It's just like anything in life. It takes time and it takes energy, and it's like driving a car, for the first time. It's stressful, because you had to, press on the right pedals at the right time, to avoid any mistakes, and definitely rejection is painful. So how can we prepare for an interview? How can we make this moment insightful for us and also for the hiring managers and interviewers? Remember, again, the risk, that you get in an interview is the rejection. You don't want to get rejected. That's your biggest fear. Nobody as a human like rejections. We all like to be accepted. We like to be there for the job. So rejection is painful for us. But on the other side, you need to understand the fear of the employer if they hired the wrong employee. And that's a big, big stress on the interviewer. That's why they will ask so many questions. They will try to do whatever they can to uncover anything that would make this hiring a problem for them later on. Because if they hire the wrong person, it could ruin the team, it could ruin the customer, it could affect the team morale and also the business and so many things. So the risk is too high for the employer actually than the job seeker. So how can we avoid that risk and make them feel comfortable about us in the interview? It's again, I like to give the example of marriage. When you are searching for a job, is exactly as if you're proposing to someone. And again, it's a little bit tough to have that comparison, but it's truly the same thing because when they are hiring you, they are hiring you to stay for good. They don't expect you to leave at all. So if there are signs that you going to be hired for a short period of time and then leave us, that's a big risk for them. So how can we become the right employee for that company? We need to, again, like marriage, when you're proposing, you need to be exciting, you need to be confident, you need to show that you care, you need to show that you are interested in the other party. You are spending some time to research, their problems, their challenges, and how can you solve those problems. Again, marriage is like job search is just completing each other. How can we both make a better life for our customers, for our employees, and for our stakeholders internally. So in order to prepare for those kind of things, there is definitely some standard questions that you need to prepare for any interview. Those questions will give you confidence. When you prepare for those questions, like tell me about yourself. This is a very easy question that you should 100% prepare for. If you don't prepare for it, then unfortunately you're not ready for the interview, regardless what you do. Why should we hire you is another question that you should have clearly in your mind. And even if they don't ask you, you should try to answer that question somehow within the context of the interview, because that what will show them that you are really ready for the job and you really care about it. Again, this is why you're saying, oh, why am I proposing? Because I have skills and I know your problems, I know your challenges, and I know how to solve it for you. And I like to grow with you. I like to spend the whole life with you as an employer. Does that make sense so far? Any follow-up, Stephanie?
Oh yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Cool, awesome.
Oh yes. So one of my follow-ups would be damn, I was thinking about the question and I forgot now.
No worries.
Uh, um, because you're talking about like it's almost like a marriage and stuff like that. When it comes to the interview, what are some best ways to like find? I know like you can go on the news and stuff like that for information about the company, but like if you're searching for a specific role, how do you figure out okay, like what problems that they are having that I need to solve?
Good question. Very good question. And the answer is informational interviews. When you're proposing to someone, you will ask their friends, how that person is dealing with those problems, how they are, leveraging their life, what are their sports, what their habits. So you will go to some other people inside the organization and try to build relationship with those guys and see, like, if again, not everybody will be open maybe to speak, but some of them will be open. And when they speak, you can just again make sure that you understand exactly, guys, I just want to prepare myself for this kind of department or this kind of role, and I want to understand, what do you guys appreciate, or what do you value in terms of skills, experience, or certifications, or what is your hiring process? What exactly would you like to see in whoever you will hire in order to land a job? That's some of the questions that you can ask in an information interview in order for you to learn about that role and the challenges. And uh, accordingly, you need to tailor your interview messaging to show that you are the person who understands those challenges and have some solutions from your past experience. You understand how to handle those challenges. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cool. So in terms of networking, again, like this call is a great chance for networking. You can connect with anyone who share their LinkedIn, and the more you open up to people, people will open up to you. So being in camera is one of the greatest muscle that everybody needs to try to practice as much as possible today. Again, I know some people feel scared, and they are shy, they are not maybe prepared for camera, but unless you have that face-to-face interaction, nobody will remember you. Like just seeing a name on the screen, N or MI or J, that doesn't make me remember who is behind that name. But when I see the face, then, oh, maybe I'll meet you someday in the street, or maybe we meet in another call, then definitely I'll remember you. Oh yes, I spoke to Stephanie one day in this call, and she was nice, and she asked some good questions, and that makes that interaction. So networking today is very important because the market is tight, and there is almost 80% jobs are hidden. And why those jobs are hidden? Because again, companies are also scared. They don't want to advertise for so many jobs, and they cannot maybe hire those jobs later on, so they rely on referrals, rely on word of mouth, rely on people who can really endorse you. So if you know somebody in an organization that you're really looking forward to work for, those people can refer you internally, can submit your resume to a hiring manager, and at least can tell you if there is an opportunity that is coming. So maybe you can get this, opportunity even before it gets advertised. So the more you prepare for that, then uh, the more readiness, sorry, you can land a job. Does this help so far, Stephanie, or do you have any follow up here before I go to Heba?
No, you answered all my questions. Thank you, Ahmed.
Okay, nice, cool. Heba, go ahead, and maybe we'll ask Samar to take that one. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, this is Hiba Sultan. I'm an engineer working in a company, and I have some questions related to HR process and like interview.
Awesome.
Part of my experience when I got the interview, like when I did the interview, I got the offer of the job. I have never negotiate my title or um, my salary, or like there was a contract related to the company, and I've never really negotiated. And after like a year or 2 year experience, I noticed that no, this is really important to negotiate after we got the offer. What type of tips and or what do you guys recommend in terms of like negotiation, how we would pursue it, and do we have to what extent we have to negotiate? This is, I think, a very important, um, as now company can like really not give you all the facts or like all the rights to negotiate if you don't know much.
That's very great question, Hiba. Thank you very much. Before I answer the question, I would like to encourage everybody to raise their hand, similar to what Hiba did. That was a very smart move. And then we can get like a queue of questions. This is an opportunity for you to ask your questions. We're not prepared today to give you a lecture or to teach you something specific, but to answer your questions more. And this is really a great opportunity. And second thing, I would like to encourage everyone here with us in this meeting to rename their profile. And after your name, put 2 words of your specialty, 2 to 3 words. Say, who are you? Like Heba, she mentioned now she's an engineer. So if you could add that, that will give you better marketing tool to identify yourself to everybody together here. So it's not for us only names. Now I'll move to your question, Heba, and thank you very much. Negotiation is very important, but you mentioned now that you would like to negotiate your title, and there's no chance to negotiate your title because you have applied for that title. To reach for the interview, the company have opened a vacancy and they said the title is so and so. And when you apply for that, that is the box that you are competing for. There's no chance for negotiating that title. Then, second thing, it will come to benefits of the job and the salary. Most of the cases now in Canada, we are advertising a range of salary brackets. So we will say this job is based on the grading system of maybe grade 7 or grade A and a number. Every company have a different grading system, and they will announce also like every grade what the bracket for this position. Now, there's no negotiation before interview because now all your effort should be going to gaining the trust and proving to the HR that you fulfill all the requirement for this job. Then after the interview base, and now also you need to make sure that you don't negotiate during interview because you should have only one objective is to gain their trust. Even if they were tricky and try to ask you some question about salary expectation, what blah, all these things, be careful. This is not a good stage for you to negotiate. You only negotiate later when they call you back and say, hi, Hiba, you passed the interview. We have selected you for the job. If you are interested, we will send you a job offer. And then you should hear the first word from them. Then you negotiate. In negotiation strategy, the first one who speak is the loser. That's the main rule of all everything. And that's why when I go to the market and I would like to buy a suit, they will ask me, how much do you want to pay for that? They are trying to get the first word from me. And if I was the first one who speak the word, then they are negotiating. But on the opposite, if they tell me the price first, then I am negotiating. I'm trying to reduce the price. Okay, so don't open your negotiation side. Wait for them to give you an offer. Most of the cases, HR will offer you the minimum scale of the job with the minimum benefit as well, because here you can negotiate more things. You can negotiate also your PTO, which is the days for leave. So you will find same people in same position. Some of them have 3 weeks of leave, some is 4 weeks. So you can negotiate that. You can also negotiate your personal days, some more of the benefit. You can negotiate that I am entitled for medical insurance from first moment, because as a standard, they will offer you that only after probation period. All of this is a negotiation thing, but you should see your job offer first, then negotiate. How to negotiate is also, there's a lot of technique. But look, in general, HR are very good negotiators because they are in a stronger position. So if you only tell them, hi, you offered me a 75,000, is it possible to make it 76? They will not, because obviously you are accepting the 75 and trying to get the 76. To negotiate, you should be able to say no. I'm not able to accept 75. I worth 76. Or you can say, I am okay. It's not related to my expenses, but based on my benchmark study, this position is offering this certain benchmark in the market. So this position is usually paid 80,000. So to be fair with my experience, I am entitled for 80,000. Or you can say, I can see in the job post that this position is requiring 7 years of experience, while I have 10 years of experience. So I should be placed somewhere in the middle of the negotiate of the salary bracket to be fair with my experience. That's there's a lot of ways. Every case is different, but you should be also in a stronger position to be able to negotiate. I hope I answered your question, Hiba. Negotiation is a big thing. It's a big course of like almost 8 hours of training. So you learn all these techniques and you hear how they are asking the question and how you ask your question to enforce them to increase. And it's very valuable to invest in this area because at the end you are getting a salary you cannot change later. So you might stay in the company for 4 or 5 years, and any difference you make at the beginning, and I really encourage you to join courses for negotiation, because a small investment of couple of hundreds for negotiation skills will give you a big difference with your annual salary. Thank you.
Do you know if there is any sessions or seminars being offered for negotiation?
Yeah, I know that Mr. Ahmed is offering negotiation sessions, so if you want to contact him, I'm sure he have something good for you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Again, I'll put a link for a free consultation that I normally do for anyone who would like to, get more support in the chat. So again, if you want to book this and have some time with me, then you can do that. Whatever your calendar, based on my calendar too. So is that helpful, Heba, so far? And again, I'll maybe add few other things related to negotiation specifically. And
Mhm.
again, the marriage example, stays here. So you are if someone is proposing to you and they really like you and they really want you, they will afford you. They will do whatever it takes to make it happen, But if it's just like, again, we're just filling a role. Okay, yes, you're really good, but you're not that great, let's be honest, if you don't show that you are the best candidate in the interview and make them really, really beg you to be hired, then unfortunately you're in a weak position in terms of negotiation. So
Mhm.
so that's again interviewing skills and how to show your value, how to present yourself as the best employee for that role. You come with a great experience. You're worth it. You're worth that number that you're asking for. You're worth that value because you will bring a lot of skills and experience to that company. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
It is
Okay.
making good sense, huh, Mr. Ahmed? I like the example that you mentioned about marriage and engagement. And I will tell all the ladies with us in the session today. Remember how many of your friends was able to get a diamond ring before marriage? And tell me how many was able to get a diamond ring after marriage. So
Yeah.
that is a stronger negotiation position before.
Exactly, exactly. And again, like Summer mentioned, if you are asking to negotiate after you now got the job, it's the same thing again. If they like you, if they feel like you are the right person, and they want to keep you, and they're afraid to that you go outside and start shopping, they will definitely make some effort to compensate you. Again, if you're not branding yourself well internally and before the interview, then you're in a weak position. So, and this is how your branding and networking and communication skills is key here. Okay,
Mhm.
I want to move on because I know that we have a few minutes and I have Zach and Neil having their hands raised. Um, is that okay so far, Heba? Can I move on?
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, Zach, my friend, please go ahead.
Hey, how are you, everyone? So I have a
Hey.
question regarding like kind of the same area what Hiba was asking. So there's a lot of times in the interview, like the recruiter would ask before to get to the manager. So the recruiter, what's your salary desired? So we have sometimes like they put in a spot you have to answer, and we just like we don't know the range because sometimes they don't post it like on the website how much the range salary for that position. And sometimes I get like I feel like I'm asking too much or I'm asking less, or that will be me in a position that I'm not sure what to say.
Okay, I'll give a few insights and then I'll hand it over to Samir because again, definitely he has tons of wisdom from an HR perspective. So the first thing again, there is a market average for roles and specifically in the location. Now again, depending on which state or province you are in the US and Canada, tax affects the salary ranges. So you need definitely to research that piece first and then accordingly also you need to understand that companies want to hire you to stay. So they know if they lowball you and they try to cut in your salary, they are putting themselves into a risk that you will leave them. So that's why most companies they have that level average or range, and that level depends again on brand how branding you're able to show in the interview and how you show up to make them feel, oh yeah, this guy or that lady is worth it. They really going to help my business and help my customers, help my, environment, and I'll take the hit and give them the highest band in the job salary, or I'll maybe even go to my executives and ask for even a more salary, if that's the case, because I don't want to lose you, you know. So, what was the other thing that I want to share with you? Sorry, I'll maybe pause here, give it to Samer, and then if I remember, maybe I'll follow up afterwards. Is that helpful so far, Zach? First,
Yes, thank you.
go ahead, Samer.
Sure. Thank you. So this is again leading us to the negotiation. And when they ask you the question before the interview, this is not a good position for you to negotiate. So if you ask, or this is now at this stage is called a screening question. Screening question, if you answer it wrongly, you are screened out from the pool. So if you mention a salary that is lower than their ranging, you lose. If you mention a salary that's close to the top level of this of the position salary, you're screened out because they don't have enough information about you. You haven't yet given the chance to market. So they are evaluating you and assessing only based on the resume. But later in the interview, you have more stronger position to negotiate. Okay. If you mention above the bracket, definitely you're out. So it's a very risky to answer this question. You need to articulate it in a very smart way to get as much information from the recruiter before applying. That's first stage. If you are not able to do that, then the position itself is an indication for the brackets of the position, and my answer will be in standard. Like, I have applied for this position. I see in the job post that it's ranging between 70 to 76, and I am pretty comfortable with the offered brackets of salary. So that's an answer to the HR that's saying, don't worry, don't screen me out. I am comfortable. I confirm that I have seen the salary. Then the third way of articulating that, there's a website that doing market research frequently for companies and positions like LinkedIn and Glassdoor. And these two websites are very good source for salary ranges. Also, there is a website that giving you anonymous feedback from companies. So now if I am joining the city, I'm working for the city now. And if someone is joining the city, then they can ask on these websites, hi guys, a facility manager in this location, how much are they usually paid? And then you get indirect information from anonymous person giving you the range, and that's what you can also present. Again, it's very risky to answer this question because you might get screened out. I would give the assurance to the person that's, no, I'm not going to speak first. You are going to assess me first, interview me, and then offer me. And then I will have a position for negotiation. Now, whatever something you give at the screening stage is something you can change later. So today, if I got an indication for a position they are paying now 70,000, I will give a comfortable position for the recruiter to say, I am comfortable with 70, because this will push me forward to the interview. And then after the interview, I can say, I remember that I mentioned 70 and I was comfortable with that. But after the interview, I learned more aspects about the position from you and the project that you are working on. And I did a more deeper research in the markets. And now I think I worth 75,000. Then you can negotiate now, because now they are able to offer you yes or no. And if they don't give you the diamond ring now, then you might lose the marriage. If my fiance asked me now, I want a diamond ring, I will tell my mother she's asking for a diamond ring. My mother will tell me, buy her. She might not confirm you. Buy her now. Yeah. When I know the position more. When you do the interview, you can negotiate. At the beginning, it's a screening question. You need to give them comfortable position to push you for the interview.
Thanks, Emmer. Is that what you were asking for, Zach?
So yes, thank you so much, Mr. Sammer. But the question is like sometimes during the interview they would ask like, "What's your family desire? What's your salary desire?" And then they don't give you like the range, and I feel like I'm stuck and like not sure what to say because I might say like too high, and it's like happened to me twice. That is like kind of asking for a little bit higher than what they're asking, and they wouldn't. They I don't know. Now they want to hear from the candidate first before they give you the the salary range, and that was like not sure what to answer that one. I felt I answered like a couple of times like I can I'm comfortable with the salary that would fit the position and my skills or something like that. So, but they said like, well, can you give us like specific salary?
Okay, let me take this, Samar. I think I know what Zach is asking for. So again, to answer this, you can just tell them, I'll take whatever your budget is. You can just tell them, I'll go with your budget. What's your budget? So that you can turn this question to them and get them to tell you what are their budget is for this role. If they keep insisting, again, you can tell them what exactly you will not take less. Again, you are coming to the job with some criteria. You will never accept below that number. So you can again, put that number in hand and tell them, maybe like this is the number that I will not go below, but definitely this is not what I'm looking for. If there is room for a better budget, that's going definitely to help me take the decision. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you so much, both of you.
Yeah, and again, I will show you a little bit a quick screen share on something that you can do in terms of um, finding the salary ranges. If you go to Indeed website, again, and there's also LinkedIn, there is pay scale, there is levels. But FYI, if you go here, employers, and then just go with your account and then go to, let's say, billing, whatever, anything here, and then go to analytics. You see this here, analytics, okay, and then go to hiring insights. This is a great tool that Indeed developed, and I know that very well from the time that I worked there. And you can, search for United States if you're in the US, and maybe search for the role software, for example, development, and then maybe put, let's say, Texas. And then you can see here, Texas, let's see, maybe let's put Austin. And then generate report. And then this will help you understand the salary range in the market for this kind of job. So here, for example, software developer in Austin, Texas is 180K a year. That's the average. Definitely, you can ask more, you can ask less, but this is the salary. What is not clear here is the benefits, how much RSUs, how much insurance, those kind of things, leaves and other things. Those will not be shown here, but this will give you at least an idea about how much you can ask for safely within this range. Because again, if they are giving you less than the average, then definitely I don't recommend that you try to work for this company. They are lowballing you, and this is not a great starting point for you. Okay. Any question on this
Appreciate it.
before I
Thank you
stop
so
sharing?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Neil, I know you want to follow up here. Go ahead.
Hi. Just add on to what Samir and Ahmed said. I'm a retired IT pro or strategist. I've had worked for multiple companies. So there's a couple of things on the salary negotiation. Number one, you have to know your value, and that's what Samir and Ahmed are referring to when you're doing all the research. Is you need to understand where you're coming in at, and you're not accepting any lower. So be careful with your lowest value. It's the value that you know you'll be happy with. Everybody's happy with more, but you need a value that you feel, yep, I will do my best work at that, and I know I'll get salary raises, and there's a lot of benefits that come with all that too. But be careful with undercutting yourself too much. The other one is be careful of desperation. If you come in and you let them and you give them the feeling that you're desperate in some way, like you have been looking forever, they're really good at asking questions to feel you out. You lose all your negotiation right there. So just the research is really critical to understand and know your value on that job. And sometimes I've been in situations where they haven't told me the salary range, and I've asked it because if you're in a lucky position where you've got a number of companies or you've got time to look, and these other companies are offering you, you can't be wasting time with a company that's going to undervalue your role. So sometimes it's depending on your situation, you can ask those questions, you can provide that information, but it's critical to do the research and know your value going in and be confident about your value.
Thanks, Neil. Great wisdom. Again, this is exactly similar to the marriage, example. So if you are proposing to, again, a lady or a person, and she's or he's accepting any other person who will, go with the flow, then that's not a good place to negotiate, or that's not a good, company. So that's why being desperate is definitely not a good thing that you show up as desperate in an interview. It will kill everything, and it will also affect your confidence in the interview. Even if you're really, really financially stressed and you need the job so hard, you should take care of your stress level and your communication, because if you show that you're desperate, that's a very, red flag for the hiring managers. They will definitely filter you out. Okay. Heba, go ahead.
I just have a follow-up question on this before we move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're saying desperate, so sometimes we have go to the interview and the recruiter they would not get back to you whether yes or no, and sending like email to follow up on the decision or follow up on the process, is that okay or no?
No, that's definitely fair. Again, you definitely need to follow up for an interview that you already, have conducted, and they need to tell you clearly what are the next steps. That's fair, and that does not feel like desperate. But if you send them three emails every day, that's desperate for sure. So you definitely need to, be clear about, how to send them those emails. And again, Samer has tons of stories about this. He always tell that HR doesn't like to, get bombarded with emails. They don't want to get, those kind of pressure. So, Samer, if you have any follow up, please go ahead before we go to Heba and then take the selfie.
Thank you very much, Ahmed.
Interview on
So,
November, and until now they still didn't like send anything, and they still not update the status online. So that's why I was like, go ahead, Summer. Sorry.
yeah,
No,
there's
it's gone. Like if it's more than a week, definitely it's gone, Zach. So I don't want you to wait for long for those kind of things. Normally, in my experience, if they don't follow up in a week, then it's definitely not gonna happen.
so communication is very important, and there's a thousand reasons for us to hate HR. That's definitely it's there. So you could say they are not responding, they are not following up, what's happening. There's a lot of things happening in the background that we don't know. And most of the time, HR is not able to expose that because maybe they are still meeting other people's. You yourself, when you go and buy a car, you don't tell all the dealers where are you visiting other places or what are you exploring, because that will put your negotiation position a little bit down. So it's there at the HR. It's a hidden area. Okay, now about the follow up. Do I follow up or not? Just think every time it's a communication skill. Think how will the HR perceive your email? If they perceive it that you are cornering them, so they know how to reject your application easily. Because for me, if you send me 3 emails per day and say what happened, where is next step, in the interview you told me you will come back to me within a week, and now it's 10 days you did not come back to me, so you are putting me in a difficult position. Thank you very much. I will send you an email. Thank you for your follow up. And you haven't been selected for this position. And we close this because I know I am the HR and I know that I can call you again after 2 weeks. I can send you another email and say, we looked again at your application and we would like to explore it. So I can close it and open it. Don't corner me. So, and again, look, in the interview, let's say now we are in the interview. I can be the interviewee and I'll ask the interviewer, I don't want to push you. I know that you are very busy, but do I expect a follow-up from you within 1 week? That will set a promise from their side. Okay, that's one way. The other way, you are already now in email communication with them. How about if in the interview, if you ask the permission of the interviewer, can I add you on LinkedIn? And if they say yes, then you go straightly, you add them on LinkedIn, thank them for the interview, and congratulations, you have created an official way of communication. Then later you can just send a message and say, is there any news with my application? That is easier than sending an email, which is an official record.
Thank you, Samer.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate you.
I think we're on time for the group selfie. Then we'll stay a little bit longer, Heba, Zach, Yazan, to follow up. So if everybody is comfortable being in camera, let's take the group selfie together, and then I'll stay longer for more questions. So let me just put the view together mood for those who will join the camera. Let's do which one? Let's do this one. Okay, awesome. So when you're ready, I'll say 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much for those who joined this camera and also those who joined the call and asked questions. This is definitely a great learning experience for everybody who joined. and I hope this was useful. You can stay for a bit, for those remaining questions for Heba and Yazan, and then we can leave it there. And again, this call is every week, the same time, the same link. So stay tuned, and you can also follow up using a Future Career page on LinkedIn. We always post those events on Future Career. Heba, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you for staying longer. Um, the question is, or I will explain the situation. I just want to understand the perspective of it. What ended up happening in my contract, they put as a semi monthly or semi monthly as a paycheck. My salary was semi monthly, and when I calculated with my manager, we talked about like bi weekly. So with those two differences, the yearly salary has been deferred. After I accept the offer, I realized the situation, and I did not contact the HR again because I just accepted the offer, and there is no point of communicating back with them and like kind of like uh negotiate or renegotiate about my salary. So what's the perspective, your perspective of that situation, or how we can handle it for future?
Sure. Can I take this one, Mr. Ahmed?
Yeah, yeah. I'll give this to you, Samir, but again, I just want to make sure that the question is clear for me and you before you answer. So I think the question is that you have an annual salary and they
Mhm.
promise you to pay you every half a month, but now they are paying you every 2 weeks. Is that the question? And
It's the
you,
opposite. Yes, it's similar. So pretty much when so what ended up happening, the company that I was working with, it was like with through contract, like it was a contract through the third party agency, and
okay,
they set you for 3 months, and then they will hire full permanent position. With that transition, my manager came and asked me, how much would you like to get paid? So I was taking it as hourly, and I told her I would like to get X amount more than I was got paid through the agency. And she said, it's fine. I will give you an example. I was like saying, oh, I'm taking 40 per hour and I would like to get 43. And we calculate it based on bi-weekly. So, oh, sorry, we calculate it bi-weekly. So it's supposed to be higher. And then when we got the offer, I got it as a semi-monthly. So it's like now twice a month. And that's the confusion. That's what happened. So I accepted the offer, and then I realized that semi-monthly, so I'm getting paid less than it's supposed to be, if that makes sense.
okay. Samir, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I will stick to the last sentence that you mentioned. You are saying
Yeah.
I'm getting paid less than what is supposed to be. I
Yes.
I will change this sentence a little bit and make it you are going getting paid less than what you expected,
Exactly.
and maybe you have expected it wrong. I haven't seen much companies here paying every twice a month. Like you're saying every first and 15 of the month. Is that
Yes.
okay? If you are going to change the payroll system, they will not.
Mm.
Here, most of the companies are calculating bi-weekly, and that is the normal payroll cycle. If you go to other countries, like if you are being in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or UAE, they are paying monthly. So every country have a different system. Over here, they are mostly following either a way of that they call it on-cycle payroll, and it's bi-weekly. And there's another off-cycle payroll. They are doing it for casual hours. So I look what I will advise you. I will
Mm.
advise you to look at the system of the company, ask for the policy and procedure or collective agreement. If you are also a unionized employee, then there will be something called negotiated CA or negotiated collective agreement with the union. Then you can call this copy. Look at it very carefully, study all the terms in it. And if you find something that's supporting your understanding, then yes, I will encourage you to go and speak with the HR and say, based on this term in the policy and procedure, and this is my offer, I am supposed to be paid this way. And trust me, HR is a human being. Even if there is a lot of policy and procedures, we are doing a lot of mistakes. And when an employee coming to us and saying, look, you are giving me a leave of 35 hours while I am entitled for 40 hours, then
Mm.
we look at our document and see, oh, that's an interesting. We haven't have had that clear. We give them the 40 hours, and guess what? Next time in the negotiation of the policy, we add another term to clarify this case. So, and that's what's happening every year. We update the policy and procedures. If it's something not very clear in the policy and procedure, it's your chance now to say, yes, this is what I'm entitled. But you have to do your homework. Huh? It's not based on your understanding because they will say easily, you understood it wrong. Read the policy and procedure and come with a proved case for them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, good point, Sam. Thank you so much for sharing this. And again, you can ask maybe your colleagues, if your colleagues are all paid in the same manner, then that's how the company pays everybody. So it might be, again, just a communication or a confusion, at the earlier part.
Yeah, we all the employee in this company got paid as a semi-monthly, so the
Okay.
first and the 15th. But in terms of calculating it as an hourly, uh, it's different than I
So,
had a situation where like I had to work an extra week and then I got my paycheck and it was less. I was like, oh, why it's less? And then they calculate it based on hourly instead of just semi-monthly. Then yeah, they had some confusion in HR and I'm trying to like see what other potential. So Samer answered my question about like policies and how I can defend my position. Thank you.
100%. No
Yeah.
worries. No worries. Okay, thank you. Yazan, go ahead.
Hey, Ahmed. My question is regarding the like how not to sound desperate in an interview. I was a contractor for the past about a year and a half, and it ended in December. So, in an interview, how do I sound not desperate for a job? Like, it's true, I am. Like, I do need a job, but I want to sound not desperate for it. Like, and I feel like whenever I mention, yeah, I my contract ended last month, it may come up as desperate.
So again, this is like a practice, like interview is just a muscle like any other muscles. If you don't practice well and you manage to control your nerves and the way that you show up, then unfortunately, you know, it will show. Like, we are human beings. It's hard for us to, lie or keep our emotions to ourselves. But if you again practice, what words you will say, how you will say it, and what tone of voice you will show up. How's your posture, your way of speaking on the camera. Those kind of things will tell anyone, even if without speaking, that you're desperate or not. So definitely you need to do some mock interviews with someone, like a coach or someone you trust who really can give you a good feedback about, what exactly the signals that you're giving to the interviewer that show that you're desperate, or the words that you use that make them feel that you're desperate. And again, put yourself in their shoe. They want to hire the best person for this job. So if they feel like you're just applying for any job just to get the paycheck, that's again, against the marriage concept that I just mentioned. They don't want someone like that. They want someone who really, really wants to work with them, who is passionate about them, excited about them, who really want to get them to know him or her and understand, their challenges and work together. So what I, highly, highly recommend for you is to practice so many mock interviews, prepare your answers to the questions, make sure that you understand, how your posture, your body language, your voice, tone, all those things matters. Nonverbal communication definitely affects the way you show up. Does that help?
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, thanks, Neil, for sharing this. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Heba, I think this is your hand raised from before. Um, Unless if there is anyone else have a question, please go ahead. I can maybe stay for another 5 minutes or so. Otherwise, we'll give you back your Sunday and we'll meet you again next week at the same time. Any other questions, follow up? No? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Tamer, for joining today. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for all the questions, great wisdom shared. I hope this was useful. I'll upload this to the YouTube channel for Future Career as well. If you wanna, recheck it or maybe share it with other friends, come next week, bring your friends, and hopefully this is useful for everybody. Again, if you wanna have a free consultation with me, I put the link in the chat. I'll be happy to support you further. Okay. Enjoy the weekend, everybody, and talk to you next Sunday. Bye.